Hello, alternates. Welcome back to the second day of Donna Adelson. I have to tell you, Margot is pretty jealous of me today because I got to hear from Wendy Adelson. That's right. Daughter of Donna Adelson got on the stand today, and so did her brother Robert. All in one day, people. So let's get into what happened Monday, August 25th, 2025. First of all, let me tell you guys, if you have not watched this case at all, the judge is just the best. I love him. If he could be on every trial, I would love it. He's kind and funny, stern when he has to be, but not really. And I mean, he's just the kind of person that I think we could be friends. He makes fun of like the times that everybody has to go to the bathroom, and he gets things going pretty quickly. He's very efficient. And after that Karen Reed trial, where we were at sidebar after sidebar after sidebar, this guy is really like a breath of fresh air. So anyways, today started out with Leon County State Attorney's Office investigator Jason Newland. He testified to the filings in Wendy Adelson and Dan Markel's divorce. So he went over emails and correspondence of Wendy to Donna, that's right, about the divorce. Wendy and Donna had a lot of email conversations about Wendy's divorce with Dan, and vice versa. And when I tell you that Donna was in it with Wendy, that is an understatement. Wendy emailed her mom every single thing, every correspondence she had with an attorney, with Dan, anything about the divorce, she was sending it to her mom, every question, every motion. I mean, I don't think Wendy could probably even change her baby's diaper without asking her mother. Donna was making most decisions about finances, relocation, how things were going to go or how they were going to run, or at least she was trying to. She, being Donna, even in one email, admitted calling a financial institution and acting like she was Wendy to get information, and Wendy had no problem with it. I love my mom, but that is taking it a little too far, in my humble opinion. But Wendy was clearly okay with all of it. In these email exchanges, you could really see Donna's disdain for her son-in-law, Dan, and she really wanted him to suffer. And Wendy made it clear that she was okay with that too. They had made up names for Dan, hated that he was religious, and wanted to torment him enough to basically make him give up. There was little that defense could do with this data because it was data, like clear as day that it was Donna writing to Wendy, Wendy writing to Donna about all of these things, and you could clearly see who was driving the bus. The only thing that the defense did try to kind of get the jury to understand is that the email address that Donna used was Donna and Harvey's. Harvey is Wendy Adelson's dad. And so Donna and Harvey shared one email address. You know the type, you guys. And I think the type is that Donna really had the upper hand in everything, and God forbid her own husband have his own email address. So the defense wanted to say, hey, you don't really know the emails were coming from Donna because Harvey and Donna had a shared email account. But the emails were signed Love Mom, except for one, which the defense did get out that this one was one email that did not have a signature on it saying Love Mom. But other than that, the defense didn't have anything. I mean, they literally said like a 2-minute thing. And that is how I saw the whole day play out. So after this investigator was done on the stand, guess who came up next? That's right, Wendy Adelson. But before we get to her on the stand, her attorney did come forward to make sure that she had immunity on what she testified against and to, and that she was being brought up by the prosecution, and her testimony could not be used against her. Wendy is a very attractive, well-spoken woman, which I would expect as she's an attorney. And what I mean is I would expect that she is well-spoken, right? Because she is an attorney. She knows this game. So keep that in mind when you listen to her, because, you know, she knows what to say. She knows when she needs to say she doesn't remember or she doesn't recall. And I mean, girlfriend doesn't remember a lot, but when it matters, in a good defense for her, she does remember every detail. So prosecutors started off really just kind of going over their relationship, the kids, her divorce. She calls Danny the whole time, and I find it nauseating. I mean, he probably was Danny to her, but just the fact that like her or her family murdered him, I feel like you don't get to say his cute name anymore. I'm sorry. He should be formal for you from now on, but maybe that's just me. And I would think that if I was jury member too. Okay, so she talks pretty openly, or what it seems to be pretty open, about her annoyance with him. But when asked some more challenging questions like, did you call him names or hate him? She doesn't really remember. She doesn't remember until she is actually told, here's, the tab, go to this. And then, I guess I did say that. So let's hear from her.
At the time of Dan Markel's murder, was the defendant, your mother, very angry at Dan Markel?
Before he died?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And you hated him too, right?
At certain points, I was very frustrated with him.
Did you refer to him as an STD?
I don't remember saying that.
Tab 5.
It looks like I made that analogy.
Danny is an STD. One wrong mistake, marrying him, and this will never go away. Is that what you said?
I did.
And did you share that kind of sentiment with your mother?
I don't remember ever saying that, so I don't think it's something I said very often.
And this was said in an email on February 26th of 2013, correct?
It was.
Approximately 17 months before the murder?
Yes, I don't think it was an email, though. It looks like it was sort of an iMessage.
Okay. Did you ever refer to your ex-husband as the Dark Lord?
I don't remember saying that, but I certainly might have.
Did you refer to your ex-husband as Gibbers?
I did.
What is the meaning of Gibbers?
Gibbers was just a silly name that a friend helped me come up with to basically make him feel less scary. It was nonsense.
Did it reference Jew in boots?
That I don't remember.
It wasn't a friendly name, right?
It was a silly name.
Did you ever say that you hated Dan Markel?
I don't remember saying it, but I certainly could have.
Tab 31, please, to refresh your memory.
I said that I hate him in this moment.
Okay, and did you say in that email, that same email, quote, I hate my children's dad?
I did.
And do you agree that email was sent approximately 15 months before Mr. Markell was murdered?
It was in April of 2013.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yes, ma'am. The approach with what I've marked as 56A, B, C, and 57. I asked you about the Gibbers nickname. Did you have that nickname stored in your cell phone as Dan Markell's contact name?
I did.
Approach and show you these exhibits and ask if they're fair and accurate. Contacts, 56A, who is that a contact for? You know?
It's my mom's phone number, so that would have been, it's a picture of Ben as a little guy and my mom.
Okay, so fair and accurate contact
Yes.
from your phone for mom at that time?
Yes.
Okay, and then 56B,
That's my dad.
and that's his phone number.
It is.
Okay, 56C,
That's my brother.
Charlie.
Yes.
Okay, fair and accurate phone number for him at that time.
Yes.
And then 57, is that the contact you had in there for your ex-husband, Dan Markell?
Yes.
Okay, Judge, at this time, I asked to move the evidence 56 and 57.
Any objection?
They then get into this relocation of the kids. You know, Donna wanted to take the kids and her daughter, Wendy, down to like the Miami, South Florida area. That's where they lived. She did not like that they were in Tallahassee. We know that by now. And in fact, what the prosecution was trying to say is that Wendy hated Tallahassee too, and she really didn't want to be there. Well, Wendy, when pressed on this by the prosecution, did not want to say that she hated Tallahassee. I think that she knew that wouldn't play very well with the jury because, hey, those people are from Tallahassee. And if they have some Tallahassee pride, they might not really like that this Wendy lady is kind of raining on their parade of Tallahassee all the way, right? So she's like, no, I didn't say I didn't like Tallahassee, but sure enough, there was a tab in the binder that the prosecution put together that was very well organized, you guys. And there it was. She hated Tallahassee. Wendy was on the stand for a couple, I think about 2 hours. She spoke about how involved her parents were in her life. And I mean, this chick really couldn't do anything without her parents. She couldn't even drive herself to South Florida from Tallahassee to visit her parents. She said her parents would rent a car, which I don't know why they would rent a car. What, don't they just have a car? But maybe they don't. I don't know. Her parents would rent a car, drive it up to Tallahassee, and then get in the car with her, drive her back to down south so she could visit and have a car, I guess, and then drive her back, grab their car, and drive back. I mean, it is wild. Wild. She is a grown adult with a husband and children, but can't drive a couple hours to see her family. But it also explains why her mom is literally running her divorce for her. Dan clearly didn't like how that was going, and he actually filed a motion to have Donna out of his kids' lives, stating that she was speaking poorly of him and deteriorating his children's relationship with him.
And in that motion, do you recall, or does it refresh your memory, that he was saying, Grandma, that the boys were telling him, Grandma says you're stupid, Grandma says she hates you, and as a result, he was concerned about your mom alienating the kids or turning the kids against him?
I remember hearing about this motion.
Okay. And that is a motion that was never got to be heard, right?
That was part of the motion to enforce the settlement agreement.
But which was never heard?
Which was never heard.
Because he was killed?
Because, yes.
And do you remember why you didn't forward your mom the actual motion that was filed in reference to that?
I don't.
Okay, if you will check see if you can find tab 98 in the back there, please.
I have tab 98.
Okay, does it refresh your recollection as to the question, which is, where was your mom on the day that the relocation was filed, which for your reference was 3/26/14.
So this email is from 3/25/14, and it looks like my parents were coming up. It says coming on Thursday, and this was written Tuesday the 25th. So my guess is that they were coming on Thursday the 27th.
And was it their practice to typically stop in Orlando and spend the night on the trip up to Tallahassee?
I don't remember.
Okay. The allegations that are laid out in Dan Markell's motion were sent to you in an email before the motion was ever filed. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that, no.
In Publishing 64AA, a December 16th, 2013 email. This email indicates that Dan Markell is going to be introducing a major issue, grandparental alienation. This will be part of our ongoing effort to resolve outstanding issues, but basically at the bottom there, Ben announced to me ABBA. What does ABBA mean?
It's Abba. It means father in Hebrew.
Father, grandma says you're stupid. Okay, and he details a couple, I think it's 3 different instances in which his boys have told him that grandma, your mother, has told them that you're trying to take my sunshines away, she hates you, that sort of thing. Does this refresh your memory at all about those allegations?
It does.
Okay.
They then got into the day of Dan's murder, and somehow Wendy does remember that day pretty clearly. I mean, I guess if your significant other dies, I don't care which way they do, you probably do remember things a little bit differently than, just your average day-to-day stuff. So she that day went to drive to meet a friend. She turned down Dan's street for some reason. She said she was going to go that way to go meet this friend. And she saw yellow tape down his street and some police vehicles. She said she didn't think anything of it. She didn't call Dan. She didn't call to check on her kids. She didn't do anything. She just turned around and went the other way. Now, we're going to get to a map of this street, but I will tell you, I'm just a nervous person in general, so I would probably call. But I mean, I call if I have like an accident on the freeway or I hear of one, and I know my husband was driving on that freeway, but she said she didn't think anything of it, and she just went along her way. She did confirm that she did know that Dan was going out of town the next day after he was murdered, and that her mom also knew as well. She came back and did say that she knew that Dan was going out of town the day after he was murdered, and that her mom also knew that Dan was going to be going out of town because Donna knew everything about Dan's travel schedule from even when they were married to after they were married. She confirmed that also, which is so sad, that her and the kids did not go to Dan's funeral, and she actually changed their names to Adelson 1 year after his death, which I don't understand why you would do that. But she did. When questioned about her brother, Charlie, he is in prison. And I don't know if the jury knows that. I think they know there's another case and they probably can, put the puzzle pieces together. But they questioned her about Charlie, if they were close. She said yes. He was single, had a lot of girlfriends. They all looked alike. He likes fancy food and nice cars. Two things that Charlie is not getting in the clink. Actually, three things. He's not getting any girls, he's not getting any cars, and he's definitely not getting any good food. She does also confirm that her brother has made plenty of jokes about offing Dan by hiring a hitman.
Did your brother joke about hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel?
He did make that joke.
What was the joke specifically?
My brother had bought me a TV as a divorce present, and he would make the joke that the TV was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
Did you ever tell Jeffrey Lacasse about that joke?
I may have mentioned that joke to Jeff Lacasse.
Who is that?
Jeff Lacasse was someone that I dated after Danny and I got divorced.
She goes on to talk about this TV and the Geek Squad guy coming to fix it that day that Dan was murdered. And somehow Donna also made the appointment for this Geek Squad guy to come and fix the damn TV. She even texted her about this TV repairman, and supposedly the TV was a bust and could not be fixed. Now, we hear about this TV as the code word, so take that as you will. But she says my mom supposedly they all bought her this TV as a divorce gift. The TV did not work, was getting fixed the day that Dan died. They then talked about Catherine McBonna, who was Charlie's girlfriend, which supposedly was one of many that all look the same. Wendy says, she wasn't really friends with her. However, there is a picture with them looking very chummy, all in their bathing suits, having a great time. But she says, he had a lot of girlfriends at that time. She also said something very interesting, is that she has not talked to her mom since November of 2023. And at that time, she spoke with her mom about how she should talk to her brother or at her brother's trial. So let's listen to that here.
When was the last time you spoke to your mother, Donna Adelson, as we sit here today?
November of 2023.
Okay. And so she hasn't given you any information or advice about how to testify in court, has
No,
she?
ma'am. No.
What about, you did offer testimony in November of 2023 as well, right, on a related case?
Yes.
Okay.
October.
And did your mom, when you spoke to her in November of 2023, offer you any advice or thoughts about how you should act or behave or what you should say in court?
Yes,
She did.
she did.
And what was that?
I can't tell you I remember exactly, but she was hoping I would be supportive of my brother.
Okay. And do you know what her thoughts were afterwards?
I do.
Okay. And what were they?
She was devastated.
She didn't feel you were supportive.
No.
Well, at the end, she did say in her initial interview to the cops that her parents hated Dan enough to kill him. She said Charlie would help her parents if there was somebody to help kill Dan. Defense, which, these are big words. This is from her initial interview with the cops. And that's pretty telling, in my opinion. The defense, however, then comes up and they do not have a lot of cross again. So let's just listen here on what the defense
He
has
said,
to
I'm
say.
not sure I liked him, let alone loved him, but I was eager to start a life with someone and he wanted to do it with me. You recall saying that?
I don't recall saying that, no.
I have placed in front of you what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1B for identification purposes. It's towards the bottom of page 3.
I see that I said that in 2013.
Ms. Adelson, you would agree that when Danny Markell was murdered on June the 18th of 2014, your little boys lost their father for the rest of their life.
On the day that he was murdered was July 18th, and yes, my boys lost their father.
They're growing up as 11 years have passed without his influence in their life in any way. Isn't that correct?
I wouldn't say without his influence in any way, but yes, they've grown up without their father.
He's not here to give them advice.
He is not.
He can't come to any of their functions, sports, anything else.
Correct.
They're not eating kosher like they would have with their father.
They are not.
They don't have him at all.
They don't have him in their lives day to day, no.
Because on July the 18th of 2014, he was brutally murdered in his driveway. Isn't that true?
That is true.
And you testified on direct that anybody in your family that had anything to do with it should be held responsible. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
Okay, then we have, after the defense, we have Robert Adelson, the son of Donna. Now, he is told that he cannot give any opinions on whether he believes his family has done this crime. He can only answer the questions that are asked, which is interesting to me because I'm wondering, like, does he think that they did it? Which I do think he does, but they made it very clear to him before he started talking that, he is not to give his own opinions. So he was asked about family life, and he basically gave like a very clear understanding that Donna was direct, the boss of the show, and his dad, Harvey, was this passive guy, just kind of go with the flow person. Donna was controlling and made it very clear how her kids would be, what they would be, like he's a doctor, and in somewhat like in their spouses' lives, right? Like if she approved of their spouses, then kumbaya in the Adelson house. Robert was oblivious to any troubles Wendy was having, but Robert lived in New York and New Jersey and wasn't in Florida, so I don't really think he had a lot of involvement in the family, like Charlie being in Florida with his parents, and the same as Wendy. He was the oldest of the family. He kind of had his own family, his own job. It seems like he was, I think he said he was like in surgery at one point. So, I mean, he's a busy guy. He said he didn't know about any of these issues until he talked to his mom. And Donna then started saying, how much she did not like Dan. But before the divorce, he says, she spoke very highly of him. He spoke about how his parents lived in South Beach in the same building as A-Rod. He had to throw that out there. Fancy pants. They had a big party on July 5th, right before Dan Markell's murder. And just a couple weeks after that big July 5th party for his dad, his mom called him and told him about Dan's murder. And he says she just told him, matter of fact, that Dan was shot and didn't make it. Donna told him not to talk to the cops, and if they come to talk to you, don't talk to him. And she also said, oh, but you don't know anything anyway, so why would you have to talk to him?
Like, hey, like, what do you think happened? What do you...
Yeah, and the conversations were kind of rerouted, or that was certainly discouraged, and it was probably like maybe sometime like mid-August, when I finally had a chance to ask and say, what is going on? I mean, this was not a small event. This was getting a lot of notoriety, and I said, what do you guys think happened? And she had said, I don't know and I don't care. It doesn't concern me.
Was that out of character for her to not be curious and not be asking some questions?
Yeah, I mean, it was an unsolved murder of, my former brother-in-law, like someone that we all know very well. I mean, if it was like some neighborhood gossip, people would be interested. This was like national interest, and nobody had any curiosity about, who did this to Danny.
Is a person, you mentioned that, not only is it your brother-in-law, but it was like national news at that point as well.
Yes.
And regardless of it being national news or not, I mean, is a person dying from gun violence an extremely unusual thing to happen in your family?
Yeah, I mean, to this day, Danny's the only person that I know who's died from gun violence or been a victim of gun violence. So it's unique in that manner.
What would your mom, Donna Adelson, do if you did try to ask her any more about Danny's murder after that?
It wasn't a subject for discussion. It would be rerouted, or it was just not a subject to discuss.
When you say rerouted, do you mean like changing the subject?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fast forward to 2016. Do you remember in May of 2016 when Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera were arrested?
Yeah, I do. I actually saw it in the OR lounge. Someone told me about it. It had to be like a Wednesday, and
you were in the operating room lounge.
Yeah, it was
and
the
someone
lounge.
told you about
it.
it.
It was someone else, because
Okay.
Stories like this people see on Twitter or such, and I remember someone telling me like, hey, did you hear about that case? Because it's more than one person had followed it, and I saw it, and then that was on the 26th, and I remember the dates because our anniversary is on the 28th of May. My wife and I were like, should we call them? Like they arrested some guy who killed Danny. And
When you say them, you mean like should we
my
call
parents.
my parents? And
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it was big news that even people you work with were seeing that there were finally some arrests made.
Right.
Okay. And that was 2 days before your anniversary, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So did you and your wife eventually talk to your parents?
We did. Like we thought, like, should we call them? And we figured, if they wanted to call us, they would call us, and then they didn't. And so we figured, well, they'll call us on our anniversary, and so we can just sit tight. And I'm sure it's pretty stressful. And this guy was arrested in Miami, and so they called us on our anniversary, which was the 28th.
Okay, so that was 2 days after the arrest, I think.
2 days after I found out. Yes.
2 days after you found out. Thank you. So on the 28th, did you talk to Donna Adelson?
Yes.
All right. And when she called you, was she telling you the good news that Danny's killers were arrested?
No, just called us for anniversary, and wished us well, and had some small talk for a bit. I kind of let it go for a little bit, and I mean, this was not small news, and so I finally broached the topic and said, they found the guy, they arrested someone who killed Danny. There's no response, and I said it, at least 2 or 3 times that they made an arrest. They got the guy who killed Danny. Yeah, and then her response was, I've got to go.
Well, this was the last time that he spoke to his mom. That's right, on his wedding anniversary, the year that Dan Markell died, is the last time he spoke with his mother. On cross-examination, it was also very quick explanation to the fact that he only visited his family basically 2 times a year, on Thanksgiving, and then maybe one other, the birthday party in the summer. Or at least for the last 2 years, he had only visited 2 times a year. And they asked if Donna, when he talked to Donna, and and Donna said not to talk to the police, if that actually came from an attorney friend of Donna. And he said, yes, his mom said that so-and-so attorney suggested we don't talk to the police, which I think is the defense's way to say, hey, this is not Donna's idea to not talk to the police. It's actually an attorney's idea. And that was it. That's all they had for him. And we had one quick second for another witness, and up came Officer Bannon, who arrived at the crime scene around 11 a.m. He was being brought in basically to establish where the emergency vehicles were on Trescott Drive. And like I told you earlier about Wendy pulling up, well, he remembers seeing Wendy's vehicle, or at least one identical to Wendy, pull up pretty deliberately, just kind of turn around. He said most cars pull up and they're like, oh, where do I go? They kind of like hem-haw for a second and then turn around. But this car, he said, was very deliberate, came up, did a 3-point turn, and they were out of here. And he just kind of made note of that, but he also remembered the car because his family drives the exact same car. So, that stuck in his head. Also, when they showed the map, I just don't know why she would be driving down that road. Officer Bannon was in and out in 2 minutes. Defense had no questions for him at all. And so that is where they wrapped up. And it was a very long day. Like, I think I want to say it was over probably 7 hours of testimony today, or not really testimony because it's very slow. The court proceedings are very slow. Everybody talks very slow. There's a lot of pauses and breaks and whatnot. So anyways, but after all of that, it was about 7 hours. They wrapped up the day, and I would say it didn't feel very good for the defense. In my opinion, I don't think Donna has a very strong defense team. But maybe they're going to pull something out that we don't know, and they're just letting the prosecution, lay their cards before they come up with something great. So we will see. Tomorrow you will have Margot on the mic giving you day 3. And until then, think like a juror and decide like one too.